These are my 3 audience members. My name is Charlie Dark. For the past week or so, I've been studying the drug trafficking trades through the cartels. And nearly 600,000 pounds of drugs were seized at the U.S.-Mexico border this past year. That number only includes the drugs that were actually found and caught by authorities. The actual number of drugs being trafficked across the border is significantly higher. Drug trafficking is a massive problem, especially in areas with corrupt governments, because these governments really don't do anything to stop allowing cartels to violently move drugs across borders and get them to buyers. Government control over drug cartels is almost non-existent due to extreme government corruption in these areas. Stephen D. Morris, who studies trends and wrote a book on drug trafficking in local governments, stated that areas where government corruption is higher actually results in less violence from the drug cartels, and this is because the cartels don't need to resort to violence in order to successfully run their business. They can get by the police just with a bribe, with this or that, and they get off scotch-free, resulting in lower deaths. The drug trafficking business is extremely profitable, which is also a reason why governments allow it to continue. Felipe Gonzalez, who is the former president of Mexico, stated that 50% of Mexico's GDP during his tenure was attributed to illegal activities, with the large majority of that percentage being the drug trafficking trade. So, having cartels do their thing actually ends up making the government money. So that is why oftentimes they just kind of let it slide, because at the end of the day, money is money and that's what everybody's after. Felipe Gonzalez, for example, was very hard on drugs. His entire campaign goal was to put an end to drug trafficking, which he wasn't really able to do, but the result was a bunch of deaths and a bunch of violence throughout his country. This kind of brings the problem up. It's because, do you try to stop the drug trafficking and more people die, or do you just let it go and let them do their thing with less deaths? It's kind of a lose-lose situation for everybody but the cartel. Now, in recent years, the online drug trafficking business has grown. According to Federico Bertola, who studies the dark web using qualitative data, he wrote a book on it, and he found that online drug trafficking through the dark web only represents a very small portion of the worldwide drug trade, but its impact has been massive because it's completely changed the foundation of the drug trade, because it makes it safer for the sellers and buyers to do business in the sense of that they're less likely to be caught by law enforcement, because it eliminates the middleman. They just place their order and they ship it to them basically. And at the end of the day, if it gets caught along the way, it's a lot harder to trace it back to someone in particular. The online drug trafficking trade is very dangerous because all it means is that there's going to be more drugs in places where there might not be drugs before. For example, it might be hard for somebody in Mexico to get their drugs to somebody in Maine, but now it's made significantly easier. Drug trafficking is a legitimate threat to international security in the U.S. due to Mexico's dense number of drug cartels moving drugs across the border. Paul Cahan, who's a professor of national security at the U.S. Army War College at Carlisle Barracks, stated that the drug trafficking issue cannot be taken lightly, even if you are in the U.S., because while you might not face everyday threats from the cartel, it will eventually flood over and cause problems in the United States as well. Thank you. And then these are my 3 audience members once again.